Hey now. So 3 games played in those new Circle Fin jerseys, and they're all losses. They must be cursed, right? Those jerseys? Isn't that the excuse?
I'm surprised they haven't been burned already.
Dude, I'm saying it. I mean, it's not like the Sharks are missing their 2 best players, right? There we go.
Couldn't be.
Oh man, I love that song. Uh-oh, there we go. Hey now. Welcome back to another episode of the Pucknologists, your only completely live, unfiltered, unedited, uncensored, commercial-free Sharks podcast, wrapping up your week of Sharks hockey, part of Teal Town, USA. There you go. If it's your first time checking out the cast, hit like and subscribe on the platform of your choice. Make sure you leave your takes in the comment section if you can't join us in the live YouTube chat. And we got another prize pack to give away. And you'll be happy to know, Jerk, that one of those prize packages were hand-delivered last night.
I feel like there's a story there.
Jimmy! Dude, it almost felt like it was going to go down like a drug deal. Dude, he's like, you got my shit? So, yeah, it was very cool.
What a guy.
What a dude. In fact, I even think they pulled the all-day hockey in San Jose thing yesterday because it was like the CUDA played at 2 and then Sharks at 7. So,
oh, yeah.
Like they went full bore.
Good for them.
All right. So, for the last 6 Sharks games have been 1-goal losses. Overtime loss versus Anaheim. Then you had that break. Then a 1-0 loss versus Winnipeg. 4-3 loss hosting Columbus. And then I'm going to say the same thing for last night. It's 4-2 loss because that was an empty netter that Nashville put up. Just more and more collapses. And so we're just going to blame the new Circle Fin jerseys, right?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, and I think you'll agree with me. I think most of our listeners would agree with me here. If I was the Sharks, I would just simply start winning games, right?
That seems to be the... I feel like that's the solution that we're all kind of looking for. Not now. Next season.
I mean, especially with the new jersey, as you mentioned, like they were DOA the minute they put those on. Like, if anything, they should have just, you squirrel away the nice new jerseys and you wait until the Sharks are a good team again,
and then whip them out.
Yeah, and that way, if they lose, it's not that big of a deal.
Okay, but to be fair, if we followed that logic, we're going to squirrel away the new jersey until they start winning. Well, it seems like they switch their alternates every 3 to 4 years, so we're roughly on target. So when the 5th black jersey comes out, we're going to start winning again, right?
That's when man. That's going to be kind of the key to everything.
I almost feel like that might need to be a side bet for us, that we know that like the next, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I believe. The next 8 home games, they will continue this stretch of wearing blacks. Like, you and I might need to put a fin down on which game we think it's going to happen. I think I might go with that Chicago game at the end of next month. Oof.
I hope not, but yeah, I kind of think you're right,
dude. So, all right, let's get into it. 4-0 shutout. Poor Blackwood. No help. Oy, oy, oy. But Barbie getting the scratch in that one. How do you feel? How do you feel about your boy getting,
I mean, he deserved it. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I do. Oh, no. Okay. I'm going to interrupt myself. There's some controvery that we're going to have to get into when it comes time to the giveaway. That's your little teaser to stick around.
Oh, shit. Great.
So for Barabanov, I mean, I think you can make a pretty fair argument that getting scratched after one blunder is maybe a bit of an overreaction, but given the blunder, I think you understand why. And it's also been pointed out that he just hasn't been all that good this season. I know, obviously, he's been injured. It came out, I believe, earlier this week that he had COVID around Christmas, which obviously can screw with you.
Yeah.
So it's really just kind of been an unfortunate negative experience for him for this season. And I don't know what that necessarily means for the future, but at the same time, the question being, what are your thoughts on him getting scratched? If him playing is not somehow helping the mixture for this team going forward, I think you have to scratch him, even though he has brought a lot of quality to the lineup in years previous.
Well, and definitely not something you want to see 2 weeks out from the deadline,
Yeah, no kidding.
But hey, it got LeBanc back in for a game before being scratched again.
You talk about a guy who needs to be you talk about a guy who's fighting for his life and needs to be in the lineup. And it's that guy.
Dude, and the fucked up thing is LeBanc, I thought was relatively good in Vegas.
Sure.
Versus in that game.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God. But the whole thing, Sharks are relentless for 2 minutes. Like those first 90 seconds, you're like, whoa, we got a team out here buzzing. Let's look. And then boom, first fucking shot against in the net. And you're like, and then 2 minutes later, oh, there's another one.
I tell you what, dude, it's something about those. It's something about those Monday morning, afternoon holiday games, right? Where it's like,
matinees,
like if Timo Meier's not scoring 5 goals for them, like they're not going to win.
Exactly. That was the problem. Who was that against? That was against the Kings, right?
The LA Kings. Dude, don't you know you were there? I was there. We were all there.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
All 60,000 of us were there.
Yeah, dude. Telling you. But and then of course the money line, which I'm sure you had to have had a couple bucks on, is Morelli getting his first NHL goal.
The thought did cross my mind. Curtis Pashelka did kind of put that out there. And I'll be totally honest with you. I kind of had my hands in other cookie jars. I didn't think to take it,
Oh, dude. 124th first NHL goal allowed by the Sharks, according to our man, Shark Stats, Darren Stevens.
Yeah. Which is hilarious that's like a thing,
But see, that's the whole thing. And they were what? I think they're tied for like third or fourth on that list of like most first NHL goals allowed like in the last 30 years.
I mean, the fact that we, and I say we, I think I'm speaking for all Sharks fans here, the fact that we all recognize that we're most likely at the top of that list or near the top of the list, I think should tell you hey, if you feel like you're there, you're probably there.
Exactly. But they give Logan Thompson his first shutout of the season. The Sharks are blanked for the 9th time, which is most in the NHL this season. And 9 would tie the franchise record for most shutouts against in a season. So for the Sharks...
You can't say the Sharks aren't making history, dude.
Dude. Last time they did this was, last season. Or no, I'm sorry, 21-22. My bad.
Which, let's dissect that one for a minute. Because you're getting... Now, granted, 21-22, the Sharks did play 82 games, but that was kind of like the first full season, obviously during the pandemic, but like the first full season kind of getting past the bubble, getting past the hub. And so you'd think there would kind of be like a rejuvenated sort of spirit. No.
And the other ones were, of course, the inaugural season for the Sharks and 98-99. I have a feeling they're going to be able to break this record.
Sure seems that way.
I feel like 10 is somewhere on the books between now and the end of the season.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I believe.
I'll do you one better, dude. I wouldn't be surprised if we clear 10.
I feel another bet coming.
I'm just saying. So, I don't know, man. I'm looking at the schedule. You got 2 games against Dallas Stars. You got a game against the Islanders. You got 3 games against the Dallas Stars. You got a game against the Islanders, a game coming up here pretty soon against the Devils.
Tampa?
Tampa's been leaking this year, but I get your point.
Dude, Vasilevsky will turn it on just for that game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
Oh, dude, Minnesota. Tell me Fleury doesn't hand them one.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, this thing is by no means are we dead here.
Or whichever team Fleury is on at that point.
Sure.
Oh my gosh. So, yeah, definitely a march to history. Oh, Dude, Gen X coming in hot. I haven't seen Gen X in a while, and he just, oh, god damn, dude. A march to history, as in the month of March. Love it. And so, anyway, that weird scheduling quirk. So you get that 2-week break, then they play a couple games, and then it's a game like 5 days, the entire fucking week off, and then they play another one, and then from here until the end of the season, it's like every other day. There's like once or twice in there where there's 2 days, but for the most part, it's like every other day. Ooh, so you know what that means. The excuse after the game, well, we don't get to practice much. Okay, guys.
Yeah, but that's the funny thing, right? Is like the Sharks are not the only team that don't get to practice all that often.
Really?
So, you know.
And if you remember last week, we had talked about that, oh, man, fucking penalty kill. That at least there's something coming back. And what happened?
Right.
After 20 for 20, they let in a power play goal in each one of their games this week. So, look, the Sharks haven't won at home in February. They're 3-7 at home since 2024. I mean, dude, right where you want them, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not complaining. I'm just pointing out facts.
Yeah, I mean, the thing, like, we all know, especially if you don't know at this point, like, if you're, I mean, I guess if you go to the game or if the Sharks are in a game and it's squandered, different, but shocked and confused and upset at the Sharks losing, like, where you been?
Dude.
Like, we all know the plan. We know what this is all about.
Well, where are we on stats right now when it comes to records? Is Chicago and the Sharks tied at this point?
Last I checked, which I believe this was courtesy of Puck Guy, the Sharks and the Blackhawks were tied in points, but the Sharks actually have 3 games in hand. I'm going to work to confirm that.
I think you need 3 losses in hand.
Let's hope, right?
Yeah. Well, because don't they face Chicago like 2 more times?
Yeah. They've got
all within like a week of each other.
Yeah, they got Chicago on March 17th and March 23rd. So, yeah. Dude,
those games are huge.
Huge. Oh. No overtime.
Yeah, no doubt. But, Quinn following the Vegas games talking about, we need size and will. And I'm going,
sure.
So, okay, so the guys that you have right now are small and resigned to being on a loser? I mean, is that a message to Greer as well?
Yes, but I don't think it's meant to be cutting. I think it's more meant as just like a confirmation of like, hey, like we suck, and that's that. Because I don't think Quinn would be doing anybody any kind of service if he were to say, oh, we're right there, like I don't think that helps anybody.
Well, look, I mean, Quinn is calling out guys. He felt like he was kind of full on tilt after the Vegas game, and
sure.
You probably would be if you're having to call out guys for the same shit after game 55 that you were saying after game 11.
Right.
Not being hard enough to play against, not getting back, not picking up your guys. So, Jacob MacDonald put on waivers on Tuesday. No claims sent to the CUDA. Anything on that? It's like the thing that, of course, popped in my head is, okay, when he's at the CUDA, where's he playing? Forward or defense?
Yeah. I think we all sort of expected this one was coming. I mean, we even talked about last week just how many defensemen the Sharks were carrying, and eventually guys were going to start to get healthy, obviously Henry Thrun being the one notable. And I like this move. I mean, Jacob MacDonald, like great guy, obviously great guy to have around. You can have a different conversation about what he brings to the ice, but the thing is, I like this move because it's kind of being like, hey, like, we know what you are. You may or may not help us down the road, but you're not as essential to the mixture as, say, a Henry Thrun, say a Kalen Addison, say an Ahotyuk or an Emberson, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I like the idea of giving those guys the ice time. Because with MacDonald, you know what you have. And you knew that he was an AHL defenseman, maybe a scratch defenseman at best for your NHL team, and had kind of been playing above his pay grade all year. So
Well,
this doesn't really come as a shock.
Well, and I love the fact that like the first 2 goals he had this year both came as an offensive player,
which is
I mean,
hilarious. I mean, I don't want to disparage the guy, but the fact that he has as many goals as he does, I'm kind of like legitimately impressed.
I'm telling you. And then, of course, dude, Gen X coming in with even more jokes. Dude. Quinn, we need size and Will. Sorry, Dave. Will's still playing in the NCAA. Oh, my gosh. So
like he's like MacDonald has more goals than Nico Sturm. He's got more goals than Barabanov, more than LeBanc. You know, he's got 1 less than Granlund. Granted, Granlund's been hurt, but you know, point still stands. 2 less than Eklund, 2 less than Zadina, 2 less than Hoffman, 2 less than Gunnan. See where I'm going?
Fucking A. Well, and now look at Puck Guy getting in on the laughs. So you're saying MacDonald was sent down to the farm? EIEIO? So anyway, but the thing about this though, with MacDonald getting sent down, and of course it's we're 2 weeks away, and the clickbait articles are going to be coming in a rapid fire pace.
You just gave me a thought actually by saying that. So as you know, you accrue cap space every day that goes by where you're under the cap, right?
Favorite player?
I'm just thinking, is it at all possible that MacDonald going down to the Barracuda is temporary, where it's like, hey, let us accrue as much cap space as possible, and then when we trade anybody that plays well for us between now and March 8th, we'll bring you back.
So you're saying this is Money Mike moves?
I would say that. I mean, you just look at the facts, right? If Ferraro is going to go, hypothetically, I know there's been rumblings. If Ferraro is going to go, if Jan Ruta is going to go, if Kalen Addison is going to go, maybe, like, why not save as much money as you can to then accommodate a dump contract or retain some salary and have room left over? You know what I'm saying? And even without MacDonald, they're carrying 8 defensemen. Even without him. So why not, right?
Yeah. No,
Bank that cap space and then make room for him, like you said, 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, but my thing is, like, we're going to cover, and when I say we're, I mean, I'm speaking for myself and Jerk versus, like, you know, Ian and Puck Guy and Landy and, you know, and everyone else involved. Like, I just don't want to go to, if that's your jam, the you know, the speculation, potential trade hyperbole, run it. That's your jam. But, like, for me, Jerk and I we'll talk about it when a trade actually happens. You know, I don't want to waste my time speculating on what teams could use Declare or Granlund or whoever. But, dude, another week. And again, we talked about this last week. Another week goes by. The Sharks' opponent gets more power play chances than the Sharks, which, again, I think kind of goes to some of the shit that Quinn was talking about. Like, you need to work hard to get those opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Well, and as I said last week, remember, like, you know, the Sharks are not doing anything spectacular that would cause a team to take a penalty against them.
Exactly.
Like, there's like the Sharks are not a threat to score or do anything. So there's no need to take an infraction to stop them because they're not doing anything.
Yeah. Oh, you know what I forgot to check? Can you do me a solid? Hit up the NHL stats. Have we hit the 3-digit threshold yet for goal differential?
Almost.
We're not. Where are we at?
Minus. So right now the Sharks are minus 97.
Oh. God.
Which, if you're keeping score at home, worst in the league.
I'd be interested to see if that's the worst in Sharks history. Because it's.
If you give me 2 seconds, I'll find that for you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because I mean that second season, that second year team. Oof.
Keep in mind too, like the Sharks are at minus 97 goal differential, and we've still got 26 games left.
Yeah, I was gonna say, dude, there's plenty of fucking runway.
Like there's a lot of runway there to just keep adding to it.
Dude. Oh man. So I mean, it's just going to be more of the same, I would imagine. I think at this point you just go to the games to, I don't know, hope that somebody, that you see something special, and maybe it's from the other team. That's fine. I've got like 3 or 4 more games to go to. I'm going to go see Bedard in person for the first time, and of course, I'm going to see my boy, Pavs. Looking forward to that. And then we're going to the Ottawa game, but that's the game directly after the trade deadline. So I'm kind of like, will I see Josh Norris? Won't I see Josh Norris?
Yeah, I was curious. I was curious to see that rumbling.
But I know that we're going for. I think a lot of it had to do. Oh no, it's because I was given tickets. That's what it was. But also, I thought that there was some funny giveaway oh no, I think that's the Women of Teal thing.
Okay.
So yeah, they're going to be doing jerseys that look pretty cool. So anyway, yeah, I'm going to see some of those players, and this is something we've talked about before as well. The Sharks, at least in my opinion, I feel like need to do a better job if they're trying to sell tickets. Again, it's even look, I know that you will be like, oh, fucking let it go already, but I still think they could, you want to put some butts in seats, maybe push the thing of, captain's coming home, or hey, fucking Bedard, everybody, push the stars from the other team, especially when your 2 biggest stars are out for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, get people who are excited, right? And that was that was something that the Sharks did back when they were good, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was like, oh, so-and-so's coming to town, it's going to be an awesome matchup. Whereas now I feel like if it was like, hey, Connor Bedard is going to come to town and he's going to
fucking torch us.
Yeah, he's going to blitz us, but enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
So
before it would be like, come to the tank and watch us shut down Alex Ovechkin.
Yeah, right.
And now it's kind of like, yeah, no, come on, watch Pavelski come back and fucking do it again.
Yeah. Remind us all that the Sharks would have won the cup 5 years in a row if they had kept him, right?
Oh, of course.
Many people are saying.
So if we're speaking about Pavelski, of course, we have to move on to our hero and zero, baby.
Oh, gosh.
All right. You go first.
Game 7.
Oh, we all need a wink from time to time.
Gosh. Remember I said last week how it's not been very often that we have multiple guys to choose from?
It has been a while.
That has been undone this week, where there's very few, if any, to choose from, right? I mean, I kind of like...
It's a shallow pool, buddy.
Yeah, it is, and I'm a little afraid to jump into it because I don't want to break a toe or anything, right?
Toenail.
Yeah, wow. I mean... Oh gosh, this is so bad. I guess Mackenzie Blackwood, just because I feel so bad for him. Like the stats are not sexy for him, but man, guy really does leave it all out there, doesn't he?
Oh, he does. But I will, in the numbers of his last 5 starts, you see him up there. I mean, dude, a 924.
Yeah.
And then Kakinen with a 923. I mean, they're putting up very close numbers. Jesus Christ, man, give these guys some goal support once in a while, or maybe, I don't know, stand these guys up at the blue line. It's just been yikes.
Well, and here's the other thing too, right? Is Utah, like, how many times do you hear, oh, like you score 3 goals and you'll win the game, right? And now it's kind of like, you'll score 4 goals and you'll win the game, just the way the NHL's going, right?
Yep.
The Sharks are averaging just over 2 goals a game, which it is not, like, generally speaking, is not good enough to win the majority of your games, but especially in this current form of the NHL we've seen the last 5 years, it's certainly not enough. It's not even enough to compete.
Hey, it only took Winnipeg 1 goal to win a couple weeks ago.
That is true, but a blind squirrel does find a nut every now and again.
Well, and it only took Vegas 1 goal to win. They piled on with the other 3, but still. I think I'm gonna go with. I went with Zadina last week, didn't I? I feel like I did because it had to do with that wrestling gif.
Yeah.
So
Pounding your head on the buckles, man.
yeah. So I think I'm going to go Granlund. I mean, 31 points in the last 35 games. You're hearing some chatter that people might be knocking on his door. I don't know if if a team overpays, you got to give it up.
Here's let me ask you this. What do the Sharks stand to gain from keeping him? You know what I mean? He's 31.
Nothing. Yeah.
I mean, he's 31. Let's just say for fun.
You need a mentor. You need guys can look up to and lead the culture and the franchise. And it's like, bitch, that's why Couture and Hertl are still here.
Right. Well, and I do think it is kind of, just objectively, it is kind of sad to like bring in a player that's good and like you think could help the team year to year, but it just doesn't make logical sense to keep them around, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, Granlund is 31 right now, and let's just say, for argument's sake, the Sharks do end up becoming a playoff team when his contract expires. Like, say that season, 25-26, say the Sharks are back fighting for a playoff spot. Is it going to make sense to have him in the fold at 33 when you've hypothetically got a bushel of much younger and potentially much better players all kind of playing in those roles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then so you get into a situation of, okay, well, you can stay here if you take less money, take a lesser role, and it just becomes all kinds of crazy. And so I think, especially the fact that he's got 2 years left, I think makes him a sexy option if a team does want to give a shot to their forward group. And the way he's playing, to your point, with not the best line mates and not the best situation, like I think a lot of teams, especially a team that has an injury or a team that maybe their depth is not where they want it to be, Colorado, they might see. And I don't agree with Falcon Strike's point. I think his value will never be higher than it is right now because he's got the extra year on his deal. So you ostensibly have a 2-year rental.
Fair point.
You get 2 playoff runs with a guy versus if you say you trade for him now and you get 2 playoff runs versus you trade for him a year from now and get 1 playoff run. Guess what? Price is exactly the same. At worst case scenario, price is exactly the same. And so if you're a team like Colorado, who
you're really stuck on Colorado,
dude, Colorado, I'm telling you right now, if it's not Granlund, it's going to be someone like Granlund. I'm telling you, dude. Colorado is sniffing around, sniffing. Write this down. And so again, I think it makes a lot of sense to trade Granlund, especially now. And we talked about it, dude. There were a lot of haters and a lot of whiners who are saying, oh my God, Granlund sucks. He's a cap dump. Why do we have this guy? Look at that. He had no goals for Pittsburgh and blah, 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 and all this kind of shit. And you and I both agreed this is a good player who was in a weird situation, and now he has a chance to restart. And look what's happened, to your point, 31 points in 35 games. That's just, in terms of points per game, that is top of the league, top of the league.
Well, and you throw on top of that wasn't it like the first 15 games, like he was trying to figure it out here?
Yeah, I think the first
feels like he fucking figured it out.
Yeah, the first there was a stretch, and I remember everybody saying like, "Oh, I knew this guy sucked and he's not doing right." All this kind of stuff. The first 4 games of the season. No, sorry, the first 8 games of the season, he had 1 assist. He didn't get his first goal until almost 2 months in. And granted, he's only got 7 this year, but scoring is not really his thing. He's an assist guy.
Yeah.
I think teams will be lining up to get their hands on Mikhail Granlund.
Okay. This is a
Colorado.
This is a 2-parter.
Do it.
All right. Is Kakkonen still with the Sharks 2 weeks from now?
No.
Okay, that kind of voids the second question.
Because maybe he is, but you're not he's not the number 1 guy. He's not going to be. It's going to be Blackwood just in terms of dollar amount, right? And term. And so you just give the net to Blackwood and you find a guy to play the back-to-backs, or you find another guy who will do a similar role to Kakkonen. But to the point you made, I think you made it last week, Kakkonen all of a sudden has kind of boosted his trade value a little bit. So why would you not capitalize on that and then just find another guy to play in that role? I bet you, dude. And, I would have to give it some hard thought to really kind of figure it out. But it would not at all surprise me if the Sharks go to a team and say, hey, we'll give you Kakkonen, you give us, insert draft pick here and insert replacement goalie here, and you just call it a day, right?
Sure.
And
Berg, though, calling out, says Colorado has $0 in cap space. Who do the Sharks take back in order to get Granlund to Colorado?
yeah, that one is going to be a little dicey. I mean,
you're the one over here going Colorado.
yeah, I mean that one you would have to do some gymnastics in order to make that work, but by no means is that impossible. I mean,
okay, where's Kakkonen going? If you say Tampa, I swear to God.
Honestly, Colorado.
Oh, fuck off, man.
I know that's a cop-out answer, but like
you're stuck.
And the thing is, it's the thing that's kind of jammed them up, Colorado, that is, they, Nichushkin is in the player assistance program, and I don't believe they get cap relief for that. So they're paying $6.25 million to a guy that's not currently on their active roster. Right.
Sucks.
But I again, Kakkonen, I mean, you could any number of teams. I mean, Tampa Bay is a good shout, right? Because you're going to want to give, you may want to give Vasilevsky as much rest as you possibly can.
Or what about Vegas? They love collecting goalies.
Yeah, I mean, Aiden. Yeah, sure. Aiden Hill has been pretty inconsistent. At least in terms of his health. He's played well, but health has been the big consideration there. So a goalie like Kakkonen, as cheap as he is and as well as he's played this year, like you could find 10 teams that would take him on just to say that they have depth at the goaltending position.
Say Edmonton.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think now there's a situation, there's a consideration. So, this will be an interesting question. Jack Campbell, after this year, he's got 3 years left at $5 million. Do you take that on as a cap dump if Edmonton gives you one of their first round picks? Do you bite that bullet? Do you take a first round pick from Edmonton to take Campbell off their hands, and then because the Sharks will have oodles of cap space, just buy him out or play him?
God damn.
I mean, what do you have to lose, right?
Boy, that's a nice little nugget to chew on from the in the chat.
When you have nothing, you have nothing to lose.
There you go. And this is spoken from a man who is in Vegas.
Correct.
I think that puts a little extra mustard on that hot dog. On the zero side, and this coincides with what Nick is saying. Thank you so much for the super chat. Totally appreciate that, dude. Hella cool. Says, last week your comments on Eklund frustrated me, but the more I thought about it, it was hard to argue with. Another week of no points. 1 point in his last 5 games. Is he even second liner at peak? I'm going to tell you right now, coming into this show, that's who I had on my list as my zero for the week. Well, like you're saying, 1 point in the last 5 games. Over that same time, a -5, but only 36% in the dot. So it's like, if you're not scoring, you need to be helping in other ways. And it doesn't even feel like he's doing that. Maybe it's 2 things. Do you think either one, he's trying to do too much with Hertl and Couture out, or is Quinn thrusting him into that position? Is he taking on too much? What do you think the issues have been to these last few games? Or is it shifting to center too sometimes?
I think it's a little bit of everything. The shift to center is definitely a consideration. I mean, you remember when Hertl shifted to center, like that was an adjustment, right? And obviously without Couture, without Hertl, as you mentioned, and not only has that taken away somebody that can get him the puck, but it's also forced him to be the guy who gets the puck. And that's not to say he can't do that, but it does take extra work. And so it's a little bit of everything. Obviously, the Sharks are terrible, and it's, he's only 21 years old. I mean, there's a growth process there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I did want to comment on Ricky's point as well about Jack Campbell being an excellent goalie there. I agree. Like, he's a goalie where the Sharks are going to have so much cap space and need a 1B goalie. Why not be a guy that you can take and get a sweetener with it? And also, not by any stretch guaranteed, but there is always the potential that you can rehab his image as a player and get something for him going out the door too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you remember Sean Monahan, when Montreal got a first to take him, and now they've gotten a first in trading him away.
Christ almighty.
So, I don't think anything should be off the table on that front.
Well, who's your zero for the week? Oh, but although I should notably, I'm going to let you go and see who you say, because if not, I have an honorable mention.
So my zero for the week is going to be a bit more of an abstract pick. It's going to be everybody. Basically, if you are an unrestricted free agent on an expiring contract, you're my zero for this week, because we're now inside 2 weeks to the trade deadline, and these guys are not, I mean, selfishly, they're not doing anything to help the Sharks maximize their value, but they're also not doing anything to help themselves in terms of getting a new contract going forward for next year. So that's more of like an abstract pick where it's like, it's everybody, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I kind of think that's where we're at now. Like, I think how many ever freaking weeks into the season that we are, I don't know, 12 weeks, 16 weeks, however fucking long it's been. Like, we're past the point of being like, oh yeah, Luke Cunnin, man, if he only had a couple goals, like, no, like, you know what I mean? Like, we're past that point. Like, if Luke Cunnin had 6 goals or 9 goals, like, the Sharks are still terrible.
Well, and the shout out for me, Hoffman, in the longest goal scoring slump of his career. Woof.
Yeah, especially because, as you mentioned, he's a guy that even if the team he's on is a non-playoff team, he's provided a shot in the arm everywhere he's gone.
Until San Jose.
Yeah, and just all of that aside, like, an objectively good hockey player.
And you know what I blame it on? I blame Hoffman not doing well because they hung a banner for him the last time he was here for those 24 minutes. That's what I hang that on. Oh man, how busy do you want it to be over the next 2 weeks?
I want it to be very busy. Like, I want like this is the year, and we talked about this. If you recall, you and I did the Erik Karlsson is a Pittsburgh Penguins show.
That's right.
And we talked about how the Sharks have kind of set themselves up to have a full roster at the beginning of the season and then have a completely different full roster by season's end. And they've put themselves in a position where they can accumulate so many draft picks. Now, that said, if it's a situation where come draft time at the Sphere in Las Vegas, which we need to have a conversation about, if it ends up being a situation where the Sharks have like 6 fourth-round picks, that's still 6 shots at it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to see all kinds of activity. If somebody picks up the phone and says, hey, Mike Greer, like, what's the story with Duclair? I want Greer to be like, he's yours, tell me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to goof around and like squander the moment, because I think there was one trade deadline year, I don't remember what it was. Like, remember there was all kinds of whispers about guys who were getting traded left, right, and center, and then,
like, nobody got moved.
And yeah, the day ended and nobody was moved, and like a handful of guys just walked for nothing, right? God. Like, that can't be the play when you're trying to accumulate draft picks. Like, I know, LeBanc, Hoffman, Duclair, Cunnin, Barabanov, like, there's a Kakinen, Zadina potentially. There's a lot of negativity that can be said about all these guys. I'm not disputing that whatsoever. But between that handful of guys I just mentioned, there's no reason the Sharks shouldn't be able to, add to the amount of picks they have in the top 93 of this draft. There's no reason. So that's what I'm looking for.
Oh man. I'm also just kind of interested. You would think that there's going to be at least a couple guys that get moved out, whether that's Duclair, whether it's LeBanc, whoever, even Kakinen, or, I mean, you mentioned it early on, even if it's Ferraro, the I'm going to be excited to see like how many guys that are currently playing in Barracuda sweaters are putting on Sharks sweaters for that game versus the Ottawa Senators on the 9th, you know?
Yeah, and you look at that Barracuda roster, like all of the sudden, like we're gonna be getting very familiar with these guys. Like,
Well, it's Gushin, it's Bordelot,
yeah, but even a step further, like if I definitely think those two that you mentioned, Jacob Peterson as well,
mm-hmm.
like those, not necessarily because he's played well enough to earn it, but just because it's a guy with experience in the NHL. Like, I think those are names that get called up. But then there, do you kind of do the rotating experience? Where do you say, okay, Tristan Robbins, you're up. Okay, Jack Studnicka, you're up. Okay, I honestly don't see him having value, but maybe he does. Oscar Lindblom, we're going to give you one more chance to rehab your image. You know what I mean?
God. See that was it last week or whatever? Somebody said like, "Oh, so and so is the new Bodker," and I'm like, "No, it's not him." And you just reminded me, no, it was Lindblom. At least they had the sense to send him down. But here's the one that I think gives me the feels, and maybe it'll do the same for you.
Sure.
But how bummed are you that it's just worked out that like Addison's here, Burroughs is here, even, Thrun and Hotyuk have come up. They've put in Emberson, and we haven't gotten an opportunity to see Knizhov this season.
Yeah, that one.
I was totally hoping he was going to be back up by Valentine's.
Especially because, and that's not to say that like Knizhov has been some stalwart and deserves to be up, but I don't think he deserves it less than any of the names that you had mentioned, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I do wonder, like, there are whispers about Ferraro, there's whispers about Ruta, there's whispers about Vlasic for some reason. Like, I do wonder if those obstacles are cleared, if that might pave the way for him to come back. And honestly, and I think Kevin Lacey was kind of on this one all along, like, it wouldn't, at this point, just everything we've seen, and it really does suck because I was optimistic, would not at all surprise me to see Addison find his way out between now and the end of the trade deadline. Just unfortunately, like, it shouldn't be that way, but it just is because he hasn't been what the Sharks need him to be.
Well, and Ricky's saying Zadina is this year's Gregor. You know what I really want? I want Zadina to be this year's Goodrow.
Man, I maybe I'm biased and maybe I'm just too hopeful, but like I want Zadina to have another chance. You know?
I mean, if the price is right.
I mean, he was a 6th overall pick.
Mm-hmm.
Like there is skill there, it's a matter of how is it harnessed, So I hope he's re-signed.
And based on what they've got going, like a 2-year bridge deal doesn't piss me off.
I don't even think it'll be that much. I think it'll be 1 year. It'll probably be league minimum or maybe $1 million. And you just say, this is it. This is it. I mean, if you can,
and you give him a healthy Couture or a healthy Hertl.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, I think you've been critical of him this year, and I think fairly so. But I think you would also say that, like, as few times as he has been on his game, when he is on, he looks really good, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And especially lately, you mentioned it last week, how well he had played. And even a little bit this week, he had the goal against Nashville. I know that, obviously there's controversy there, but it still went in. And, I think being a 6th overall pick, and the fact that it didn't cost anything to get him other than money, I don't see why you don't fully exhaust that option. Maybe and maybe they have, and if they feel like they have, then you throw them overboard and you move on.
All right, I think that's fair. Boy, before we move on, are there any other Sharks that we haven't talked about where it's kind of like, give this player the horse eye? Like, I see Bailey mentioned in the chat. Is there anybody else that you're kind of like, not a guy who you hear his name a lot? Like, I don't think somebody's going to be like saying, hey, that Carpenter guy, can we take him off your hands? But is there somebody you think isn't being talked about that you're kind of like going, that's my dark horse right there?
Oh gosh.
Because it seems like the big names are LeBanc, Duclair. I mean, well, mostly those, and Ferraro. Although I'm not sure why Ferraro's getting that much heat around his name, but
yeah, I kind of and this
because it seems like half the team, if not more, are all FA at some point this season.
now if you take the
Barabanov.
Yeah, I think this might be a bit of a controversial pick, but I do think Vlasic.
Fuck off.
Only because maybe not this trade deadline, but maybe in the summer in the right situation, because you just dig into the stats, right? Guy he's played less minutes per game this year, right? And yet he's on pace for more block shots, he's on pace for more hits, he's on pace for about the same amount of takeaways and less giveaways. So kind of those underlining numbers are all favorable. Now, they're not where you want for a $7 million defenseman, but they are more favorable than they have been. And I do think we're not going to get into all the other behind the scenes stuff, but if you have an internet connection, you know what's been going on. And I think with that obstacle kind of seemingly put to bed and maybe a new situation, I don't know. I could see a team. I don't think it's guaranteed. I don't even think it's 50-50 he gets traded, but I could see a handful of teams think about it.
All right. And then finally here, Ricky is saying, move Blackwood. Keep Kakinen if the goalies are about equal. Keep the younger one. Kak's been more consistent, less of an injury history too.
The thing is, though, like, I don't think the age is really a consideration. Like, they're the same. Like, Blackwood is 4 months younger.
Yeah.
So,
well, and the other thing though too for me is, if I'm really feeling froggy, if you can pull it off, sign Kak to a 1-year deal and then just say, all right, you guys are both FA. Like, one of you guys is going to be here after the deadline next season. So fight it out.
Here's the other thing. Let me ask you this question: if you're building a team, whether you're shitty or whether you're a cup contender or anywhere in the middle, when you're building a team, when do you want to have your starting goalie position locked down?
When you're like a cup contender?
Or even if you're a shitty team, like for that season, when do you want your starting goaltender position locked down?
Day one.
Right. And so I don't think the teams who would conceivably trade for a goaltender, they more often than not have their starter and I would argue their backup locked down. So I don't know that it would make sense to trade for a goalie who has term when chances are your goaltending situation is already dialed in. Kakinen to me makes more sense because if you're a team that needs a short-term backup, you use them for the playoff run and then you just gas them at the end of the year.
Oh. So, you know what could be really fun is to move Kakinen with the idea of like, hey, and maybe during the off season we bring you back.
I mean, maybe. I mean, like between you and me, like, I mean, I know a lot of people who have been fired from jobs before, and never once have they been told, "Why don't you just come back?" But at the same time, it is possible.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that like this November, most of like the world says, "No, we're not bringing that guy back." So anyway. Let's move on. We talked about it last week, and I know it's been a polarizing topic for some sports writers. But the whole Nike Fanatics Major League Baseball jersey debacle last week, I just wanted to point out something else, and also highlight something that happened on Twitter this week with me, and a comment that I think is probably taken out of context last night. But the new articles dropped earlier this week reporting that as teams shift to the new Nike-designed Fanatics manufactured jerseys, they are not certain if alternate jerseys will be available on time for the start of the season. So, there's some teams I believe in Major League Baseball, it's not like basketball where you can have like 200 different fucking jerseys every season. Like you're allowed, I think it's called like the 4+1 rule.
Sure.
It's like I think you get like your home, your home whites, your road grays. Like you get some sort of alternative. Like I know the Giants wear like Gigantes or something, or they'll have that Sunday jersey where it's black with SF, or they'll have that orange Friday one. But then you also have the City Connects, right? So similar to like the reverse retros that hockey did. But could you imagine if the NHL had, if some team had like some huge promotion that they were going to do like the first or second game of the season, and then like it comes out a couple weeks before, oh, you know what? Manufacturing wasn't able to get it together, so we don't have your jerseys. We're going to have to give you a fucking IOU on that.
Gosh.
Like, dude, I'd be so fucking pissed. So it's like if you're an NHL jersey fan, I'm just saying, horse eye what's happening with the MLB, maybe take a few notes. And the fucked up thing is this is the second time this has happened with jersey manufacturing and Major League Baseball. It happened back in 2022. The Phillies didn't wear their cream or powder blue alternates for the first few weeks of the regular season. But of course, at that point, it was, it's supply chain issues, blah, 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 from COVID, yada, yada, yada. I'm just dying to see what the excuse would be for hockey, because it's so far I haven't heard what the excuse is other than, incompetence. And so I'm just the way that. And then the whole pants thing this week, like the pants are, you got one person saying, I don't understand why, what the pants issue is. It's the same material as last year. And it's like, okay, it's the lighting of and it's like the fucking lighting is the same every year. They don't really change anything.
Well, and here's something to kind of chew on and make you think about. So my wife, is not she is not the biggest sports person by any stretch.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously familiar with, what sports are and the basic happenings, but not a sports watcher. And she asked me on Friday, I want to say it was, like, hey, like, what's the story with baseball and Fanatics? And so the fact that this controversy, it's making its way to non-sports fans, I feel like is just even more of a disaster.
Oh, jeez. Well, and then some of the photos that have gone viral are just fucking hysterical.
Sure.
And, dude, like they got a shot of the Giants, Casey Schmidt, and it's like you can literally like see the indentation of the boys kind of hanging out there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all the jokes that went around, I guess this guy's coming to the plate with 2 balls and no strikes every time, right? I mean, just the PR nightmare that this whole thing has become. And it's like, man, if you're Nike, how do you not just go, okay, look, we knew coked this. We fucked up. Just let's roll it back. Let's get the original formula because no one's digging it. We went full new Coke. We're sorry. And boom. I mean, fucking figure it out. Because this is just such a horrible fucking look. And again, imagine if this happens 3 years into the deal when Fanatics is making hockey jerseys. People will lose their mind.
And like you mentioned, I want to say it was maybe last week or 2 weeks ago, like for baseball, they kept the recipe exactly the same in an effort to get ready to do it themselves. And it's like, how is 3 years not enough time?
I'm telling you, dude. And then, the other thing too is they're saying like the colors aren't accurate.
Shocker.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Where have I heard that one before?
But it's like the Cubby blue is supposed to be different from Dodgers blue and all this, and like guys are playing in Arizona or whatever, and they're going, these both look like the same blue, and neither one of them are either LA blue or Cubby blue. Like, the only thing that blew were the people that chose this shit. Mm-hmm. It's horrific. And now, for the longest time, dude, for like the last 30 years or whatever it's been, the Giants, they've always worn these kind of off-white jerseys versus like the Athletics where they wear what I think they call it like wedding white or whatever. But
Sure.
it's always, for the Giants, it's always been the creams. And now they're calling it the coconut milk or some shit because it's slightly off. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me with this?
Is that official terminology, or is that people just like goofing and making stuff up?
No, go Susan Slusser, who used to cover the A's, now is doing the Giants, I believe, is the one that posted that on her Twitter. That said that's one of the things, that it's no longer the creams, it's coconut milk. And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sakes. Stop.
Jeez. That's like it's so funny. You're a person who's painted a room before. That's like you go to the you go
Is
to
that
the
eggshell? Is it egg crew? Is it
yeah, you go to the paint store and you say, hello, person, I'm looking to paint my office a gray color. And they say, okay, are you looking for steel gray, are you looking for charcoal gray, are you looking for gray beige, are you looking for beige gray? It's like, fuck, gray. Like, it's almost like, the Venn diagram where it's like baseball jerseys and house paint, and like what's the middle?
Yeah, well, some people are definitely overthinking it. And it's like, it just reminds me, this whole debacle just reminds me of one of my all-time favorite phrases that everybody knows, longtime favorite: if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, it's a great phrase.
Fuck. But the other thing I did want to address, in just with regards to jerseys, is I did tweet out something about when I was at the game last night and walking around the concourse. Dude, I noticed a lot of fucking fake jerseys being worn.
Really?
Like it was definitely seemed like there was more fakes than authentics, and I put so sad, and I was essentially accused of jersey shaming. It was kind of like, fuck you, AJ. Not everybody can afford the collection you have, blah blah. And I'm like, that wasn't my intent. It was the fact that, yeah, fans have been priced out that they have to go buy these. I mean, dude, rep your colors however you want to rep them. But it's like these jerseys, they're like back to the MLB for a second. They're charging like $450 for these fucking jerseys. Like,
Jesus.
are you fucking insane? I guarantee you, like, these jerseys don't cost more than like $18 a unit to make.
For baseball, yeah, I know hockey it's a bit more expensive, but the markups, like the markups on specifically on hockey jerseys, it's like it's at least, on the low end, it's at least 150%.
Yeah. But some of these, it's just ridiculous. And it's like, no, I was just like, oh, it's fucking sad that fans are priced out of this shit. I think these prices are just insane.
Yeah.
And to the fact where it's like, no, let's go buy fakes.
Well, and not only that, and you talk about, long time listener, a little bit inside baseball. If you're crafty enough with the Photoshop application, something you design might end up becoming for purchase.
Fucking A, dude. I mean, talk about that, dude. Now that's the 4D chess play to make your own jersey. Just do it up in Photoshop and then let somebody else make it, and then you just buy it for fucking $28. Oh man, that was sick, dude. All right. So anyway, let's get to the oh yeah. So again, to wrap that up, yeah, I'm not jersey shaming anybody, man. Wear what you want to wear, but it's just like, man, this is where we're at now, and. Yeah. And to be fair, it's like, yeah, there's one crowd that's going to go, don't give money to China and, fuck that, stop ordering from Chinese companies. But then it's like, okay, then there's other people to go, well, I'd rather do that than give fanatics money.
Or like you pointed out, that's all that they can afford to do.
Yeah. So it's just.
And it shouldn't be that way. Like, being like, there's so much commentary about how playing sports is kind of gate kept from people who don't have a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And like now it kind of feels like we're getting to the point where being a sports fan is being gatekept in the same way.
Dude, you are so fucking right. I mean, let's be honest.
It shouldn't be that way.
Yeah. I mean, let's call it what it is. The Fanatics jerseys, the breakaway ones, like I've put one on. I've tried one on. I'll be the first one to say, yeah, you know what? Comfortable.
Yeah, sure.
Very comfortable.
Very true to size too, I've noticed.
Yes. But
surprisingly.
But the one thing I will say is that they're about double what they should be, price wise.
In terms of price, yeah, that's fair.
Like I look at that and I go, $79, $89, yeah, blank, absolutely.
And that's all sports that do this, which suck.
Yeah, you're right. It's not hockey jersey specific. The overpricing and that's the thing that it just really kind of bakes your noodle is the fact that you go and look at photos, and I think we even did this on one of the shows where we showed some photos from like the late 80s, very early 90s, like games back at the Cow Palace for the Sharks. Dude, you'd see one, maybe two jerseys in the stands. The end of the decade, and that was at football, that was at baseball. At the end of the decade, half the fucking fans are in jerseys. Like they did a great job marketing all of that, but I would also say as well, the jerseys then, and yes, we understand how inflation works and whatnot, but they were way more affordable.
Yeah, well, you have to look at it like, and again, things generally speaking, even outside of sports, things are very nuanced. Not everything is simple as saying, this therefore means this. But to your point, compare, jersey price over the last 25 years to average household income over the last 25 years and compare the percentage growth. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But that's, gosh, so many things you could do that with. But these
and that's the thing, and that's that kind of data is what you're supposed to say to the people who say, oh well, inflation. It's like, well, yeah, but it's a little more than that.
Yeah, well, and when one company is controlling so much of the market and basically are asking you to pay more for less,
right?
The only thing you can do is vote with your wallet.
Well, because that's the thing, is specifically with the jerseys, like you mentioned, there's very much a mantra of, well, if you don't get it from us, where are you going to get it?
True that. And you know what my recommendation is? Don't give your, again, wear what you want to wear, do what you want to do. But if it's me and you're kind of in that, this is what I can afford type of thing, dude, I'm telling you, you can find some amazing fucking deals on like eBay or whatever for older jerseys. And they're going to be better quality than the shit that's now available.
Well, and there's also, and this is very nuanced, very kind of nitpicky, maybe. But there's obviously there's only one licensed manufacturer, right? But there are multiple licensed retailers, so you can buy something that is 100% like legit, real deal Holyfield and not have to give your money to the person who also made it, if that makes sense.
Yep. No, totally get that. All right. So I guess we can step off our soapbox now, but I can't wait to see what happens between now and next week. Like, are we going to be talking about like fucking, it's really weird. Cleats and batting gloves are now falling apart for no reason.
Next week we're gonna be like, the jerseys are great.
They're so awesome. All right. You know what though? Following on this, let's get to our tweet of the week. We got a couple for you this week, and I'll tell you, they're both fucking doozies. Under Armour just tweeting out a fucking photo of great baseball pants that aren't transparent at all, just saying, we got you covered. I mean, dude, solid troll. But the thing that's kind of fucked up, the way that I understand it after looking into this a little bit, and I don't have it all down, but from what I understand, like UA got the deal back in 2019 or whatever, and then for whatever reason had to pull out last minute. But the fact that they put up this, it was just like, oh, fuck, dude, what a troll.
Well,
I'm here for it.
well, and that's the thing. Like, we've kind of seen as social media has evolved, we've kind of seen a lot of brands and things like that sort of take a more an edgier approach, and you see this all over, like all kinds of companies. Like, a lot of the stuffiness is gone out of it, right? And
Some
so
of it, but a lot of it
Sure.
is also like kind of taking, talking shit from the cheap seats.
Right, but my point being is that now, like before, like if you were a producer of any good, it's just like, oh, we got to, what are our customers going to say, right? But now, like, you got social media of competitors that are goofing on you. Like, it's a new world that we're living in.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is one of the things where I can, I find social media to be a double-edged sword, where it's like I can appreciate the joke and everything like that. Absolutely, but there's another part of me that just goes, this was not needed. You know what I mean? Like, maybe we would do better if we had a little less snark in the world.
Sure.
If we tried to be a little nicer, like, and it's like instead of "we got you covered," maybe go, "Hey Nike, we can help with this if you need it." But I don't even know how many sent me this other tweet though. I don't even know what the fuck the Calgary Flames were thinking, but. Dude, the fact that there's somebody in Calgary with the name Crystal Metz.
It's an unfortunate pairing.
I mean, good Lord. And then, but the fact that, like, I don't even know what this person does. A medicine hat? I don't understand.
Well, Medicine Hat is a city.
Oh, okay. And life's better. So, I mean, like, is this like, so what, a real estate ad? Is that what this is?
She's an insurance agent.
Oh, okay. I mean, but how do you not, like, I don't know, put at least a middle initial in there?
I'll tell
like
you what,
Michael J. Fox or something.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Or maybe you go by your middle name. Or you use it, you use your middle name, like remember the comedian, the guy from that TV show Home Improvement, Tim Allen?
Mm-hmm.
You know what his real name is?
I'm sure you're going to tell me.
Timothy Allen Dick. His name is his government God-given name, Tim Dick. And it's like, yeah, it's probably not that great. Maybe I'll just go with Tim Allen. The lead, like, and you see that with musicians a lot. Like the lead singer of Motley Crue, his real name is Vincent Neil Wharton. It's like, yeah, Vince Wharton. That doesn't sound Vince Neil. Okay, that sounds cool. The drummer from Motley Crue, it's Tommy Lee something. I forget what, like Athena or something like that. And he's like, no, we'll just go with Tommy Lee. But you see that a lot where people will just use their first and middle name to go with Crystal, and it just sounds so fucking close. Oh my goodness. But the fact that it's like the captain checking in with his niece and nephew, I guarantee you there are like 3 people that were like, oh, this is so adorable. And then 5,000 responses like, there's no way that is this woman's real name. Like they were trying to highlight this really nice family moment. Everybody just locked in and said, nope, we ain't got time for the family shit. We're going to fucking nail this to the wall. Oh my God. Just so fucking good. All right, there is another team in San Jose.
Ooh, Barracuda.
All right, so the CUDA, I got to be honest, didn't really pay attention this week. But you know who pays attention so I don't have to? Ian Reed. And Ian and I believe some grouping of Kevin, Jules, and whatnot. They talked Barracuda earlier this week, right?
Yeah, that is correct.
Like,
They
I'm not
did
trying to be a dick. It's like I was so busy this last week, I just did not have time to like catch up on shit.
Yeah, so Ian, Kevin, and Jules on Wednesday, I want to say it was, they did a show kind of talking about the Barracuda after their game against Coachella Valley, and then also they actually also talked about like a handful of like listener submitted trade ideas for the Sharks. So it was a really good listen.
Oh, nice and interactive there. Love it.
Yeah.
All right, so make sure you guys all go check that out after you're done watching this show. The only thing I know is the CUDA is still in the basement. What can I tell you? It's it's not looking great, but you think about the names that are going to be coming in over the next season or two. I mean, Haltunen, Smith, Musty, who's that? Beasted.
Mm-hmm.
Who am I missing? I know there's a couple other big names that are, expected to.
Oscar Lindblom. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, Bordelot, Cardwell, Brandon Coe, Tristan Robbins. Like, there's all kinds of names that you could keep keeping your eye on.
Is Weisblatt still part of the solution, or I feel like I don't know if it's injury or if it's inconsistency or what, but it just seemed like I remember hearing a lot of fucking like, yeah, we're on the Weisblatt train, and then like it got derailed.
I mean, if you listen to me, you knew that was a bad pick from the beginning. Well, bad, no. If you listen to me, you knew that was the wrong pick from the beginning, but I digress. Yeah, I mean, just not a great season with the Barracuda, right? Which is really unfortunate. The injury considerations, obviously, as you mentioned as well, sounded like he was going to have a surgery on his knee or maybe his meniscus. So it's, yeah. All right. It sucks considering he's only, he's going to be 22. So it's like he's still right in that range to like kind of get it going,
Oh, it'd be nice. So anyway, check out that show from Ian and the crew from earlier this week if you want to catch up on all your stuff with the Barracuda. And now it's time to get to this interesting prize. And again, you can tell what a short week it is because we're already doing the prize thing and we've only been chatting for barely over an hour. Usually we're fucking, knocking on 2 hours at this point. So, and let's be honest, if we don't get into that baseball shit, the show's already over. So, dude, you said something kind of interesting happened with the prizes this week?
Yeah, there is a little bit of controversy. Not any real controversy, but just like kind of fun controversy, if that makes sense.
Okay, now remind me because I went so fucking stupid last week. So it was highest time on ice between both games in the second period, both teams.
Yeah, so basically, here's the short version. Between these two games, regardless of the team, what will the highest time on ice be for the second period? And now, folks, AJ, we'll have to find the tape and maybe tweet it out. But similar to when we did this for the highest shooting period, I gave you guys the answer. I said
that is true.
I said it would be the second period Nashville, and it would be Roman Josi. I gave you guys the answer. And that's exactly what it was. Roman Josi, in the second period of last night's game, had 8 minutes and 59 seconds of ice time, which is highest on his team, highest in that game, and highest in the two games combined that the Sharks played this week.
Are you serious?
Correct. Here's the controversy. The winner, Jim Reynolds.
Oh, fuck me.
So if you include the Super Bowl one, which we did not count, he's won 3 times this year.
Dude. All right, dude. I'm telling you right now, text message coming in 3, 2. Oh my God. That is hysterical. I don't know. Dude, Jimmy, at this point, I don't know what I can do. I'll buy you a beer next time. It's like
so that'll be one for the end of season prize thing to be determined what that is.
But do me a favor. How many entries do we have?
We have 7.
For the one that Jimmy just won?
7.
It was 7? Oh, okay. What happened, dude? Beginning of the season, we had like 1,800 entries.
Hold on. Dude, you want me to continue.
Oh,
I'm
fuck.
telling you want me to continue. So, Jim Reynolds is already won, so we move on to the next person. So, the next person is also a winner, Sean Rashkes.
All right. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Are you going to tell me that like 7 people entered and every one of them has already won?
So the backup is also a winner. So we say, okay, next on the list, Brandon Workman, also a former winner from this season.
best ever so far. Keep
And
going.
so that's it. Here there's a consideration here.
Oh, let me answer Puck Guy's question. Not at all, but his wife very well may be. So anyway,
So here's the consideration. So there's two people I'm looking at. One person who, well, actually, you know what? I want to make sure that this person is also not a former winner because
hold on. What prizes are you handing out in the Discord?
I handed out.
So Marty is saying prizes for the Discord prediction. What are those?
I don't know that any prizes have been determined. We're gonna have to have a conversation.
Oh, yeah, it sounds like an inside baseball thing.
So here's the thing. So based on the logic of closest without going over, we do have a winner, but
oh, fuck.
There is somebody who did go over that was really close to the actual time. So do we stick to the rule or do we break the rule?
No, we got to stick to the closest without going over. That's unless the only reason we don't stick to that is if ever, it's like fucking Price is Right. If everybody is over, then we would go closest.
Sure. Okay. So the winner,
unless you have extenuating circumstances to change my mind.
Right, which I don't.
Okay.
So the winner, not eligible. The backup winner, not eligible. The tertiary winner, not eligible.
Whoa, I know words.
Oh, hey. So the real winner, number four on your call sheet, and a person who has entered multiple times this season, but they are a newer enterer, I guess.
And here's the thing that's really gonna be fucked is you watch.
Sure.
They're not gonna be in the US 48.
I'll research that.
That's gonna be too fucking funny.
The winner, and this is not a,
it's gonna be like a Tyga burner account.
So the winner, and I don't want to. I'm gonna. I'll get
say
it. The winner, number 4 on your call sheet, Mercy Sagehorn is your big winner.
That is the coolest fucking name for a winner that we've ever had.
It is a pen name. I'm not going to say the real name, but that is a pen name.
Well, is the real name Crystal Metz?
No. So there's your winner. I will send them an email and let them know that they've won, and we'll find out if they're in the US 48 or not.
Okay. What do you mean by pen name? What are you trying to say? What am I missing here?
Okay, so Hockey Jerk is not on my birth certificate.
Okay, so it's not their government. It's a nom de plume and not their government name?
Sure.
Fine. Whatever. Sounds good. All right. So I was thinking about it, and you know what? We're getting down to the last few weeks here. The amount of lunch boxes and Hertl bobbleheads is dwindling.
Last few weeks, we got 8 more shows left.
Fuck, do we?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I know I have at least 8 more lunch boxes, so we're good there. But I feel bad because I'm wondering if I kind of got out over my skis with some of these questions, and that's why the amount of entries have gone down.
Maybe.
So I'm just gonna make it real fucking easy this week. The Sharks. God, I pulled down the schedule and then I fucking put it back. The Sharks play 4 this week, right? Is that correct? Did I get that wrong? No, it is 4. All right. So hosting New Jersey. Welcome back, Timo. Who? Then we got hosting the Ducks. Then going to Big D to see Pavelski. And the very following night, going to play the former Stars team, now known as the Wild. Next Sunday, which you know what that means, kids. Next Sunday, fucking
wow.
Takeover, baby. That means a slightly early show. So instead of being on at 7 p.m. Pacific, we will be on following immediately after the Wild game. So, and I'm sure everybody involved with After Dark is like, fuck, we finally get a night off. So 4 games: Jersey, Anaheim, Dallas, Minnesota. We're making it simple, people. Combined scores of those 4 games, closest without going over.
So
if it,
basically like Sharks versus all the opponents.
No,
combined?
total scores combined over the next 4 games. So it's like if you think Jersey's going to win 5-0, if you think Anaheim's going to win 3-2, if you think Dallas is going to win 5-0, and Minnesota's going to win 5-0, then your answer would be 20.
So basically, total goals for all 4 games.
You got it.
Okay.
Total goals, all 4 games.
Total goals, all 4 games. I love that.
All right, and look, and just for funsies.
Say it.
If you want to go for extra credit and a little something extra in the prize pack, give me the name of the last Shark to score that in the week. So there you go. If the Sharks only score 5 goals this week, whoever scored that 5th goal, that's your bonus.
That could also be potentially a tiebreaker.
Yes. Perfect. There you go. Love that. So seems relatively easy, I would think. So make sure email hockeyjerk10. Remember, that's all one word. hockeyjerk10@gmail.com with your answers. First answer needs to be submitted before puck drop of that first game, which is, what is that? New Jersey on Tuesday.
That is Tuesday the 27th at 7:30 p.m. Pacific.
There you go.
So you've got a day. You got just under 48 hours.
Hey, now. So, get that in. Remember, highest combined scores.
Just say total goals in all 4 games.
There you go. Yeah, total goals from all 4 games. And Patrick going with 69 and Blackwood as his.
For legal reasons, we cannot count that.
Yes. So, God, man, how many bets have you handed out? I mean, dude, I saw you cashing some checks this week.
Dude, so
I mean, you nailed Yossi.
The one that I'm most proud about is I don't know if you saw or not, and I'll freely admit, if you want to, send me a ping in the Discord if you want to see my losses, and I'll share those with you too. But
that's fair.
But the one that I was really kind of juiced about was Nikolai Ehlers' anytime goal, because he scored in like the first 3 minutes of the game, so that was like no sweat. It was like, all right, can turn that game off, and I know I got that locked down. Brandon Saad pick, that was a nice one too, just because of the odds. So Patrick Kane getting an assist a week ago. So like a lot of these have been, I feel like, and I feel like everybody would tell you this, but I feel like my wins are like big wins, and then it's like a bunch of like little kind of whatever losses, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Like there was a soccer game today. I bet to have 3 goals and it had 2. Big fucking deal. Like, but to go on Twitter and you can look, it say Nikolai Ehlers anytime goal, and then he gets it in the first 3 minutes of the game. It's like, man, cash in.
What was the one that I fed you on Twitter?
It was the Vince Dunn shots on goal.
Yeah,
that was like last month, I think. Which that was a nice shout.
Well, dude, and the funny thing that was so funny though is like he got like his first 2 shots came in like the first 10 minutes, and then like it was 40 minutes without a fucking shot. Like,
I know, dude.
Are you kidding?
So I had a hockey game that day. So like I was kind of hanging out at home, and like you said, he had the first 2 shots, I think, within the first before the first TV timeout, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, 2 shots, like we're made in the fucking shade too here. And then I put the phone down and I'm doing other things. I get to my hockey game and I'm in the locker room and I'm getting dressed and I look at my phone and I'm like, fuck, the 3rd period's about to start and guy is still at 2 shots. Like, you can't do this to me.
Oh my God.
But it's fun. Like I said, I'll freely admit I've got more losses than I know what to do with. But
hey, the house always wins, right?
Right. But my only goal is, at the end of the day or the end of the week or the end of the month, however you choose to look at it, what is my net? Am I net positive? Am I net negative? You know what I mean? Like that's how I choose to look at it. And obviously, you're going to talk about the wins more than you talk about the losses. But at the end of the day, am I net positive? That's all that I'm looking to do.
There you go. And so with that said, I have to ask, did you see the Rock Bottom Kings sketch from SNL yesterday?
No, I did not.
Dude, I sent that over to you. Oh my God. Go check that out, everybody. If you enjoy like betting on sports, go check it out, dude. Rock Bottom Kings on SNL. It's fucking hysterical.
Yeah, I'll have to give it a look.
Yeah. 14 home games left. Is that correct?
Ooh, I know. I mean, I know they have 26 games left. Let's see. They've played...
14.
Yeah. Shit, man.
Yeah.
Winding down.
I don't know, but well, you said something earlier about the season, being long, and I'm like, it has kind of been long because the wins have been so far and few between.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't. There's a part of me that's like, I can't wait for this fucking season to be over. But I feel like, well, at least you have the deadline there to like kind of keep you going, like make you appreciate that final month. But the other thing, of course, and I think we talked about this too, it's like we're starting the playoffs way too fucking late.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that it's like, and the last day, I think we talked about it last week. The last day of the regular season is April, what is it, 18th for the Sharks? Probably April 20th for the whole NHL. And the playoffs are not going to start until the 23rd at the earliest.
Yeah, that's no fucking way, man. Like, dude, playoffs should be starting like by April 10th. It's ridiculous. But all right, so excuse me. Like I said, 4 games this week. New Jersey coming back with Timo who? Anaheim Ducks at Dallas at Meany. We're going to be on immediately following the Sharks at the Wild. Remember on Twitter, you can follow him at hockey_jerk. You can follow me at AJ_strong. Remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Leave your take in the comments section if you couldn't join us live. And if you want to keep us commercial free like Nick did earlier and use that super chat option, of course, it's always appreciated. Appreciated even more, Venmo. You can find us at Teal Town USA. And, I haven't checked the Apple podcast. I'll do that as soon as I'm done here. But we got to see if we finally hit that 100th rating or whatever the hell it is. Review. That's what it was. 100th review. So we want to crack that. So we'll have to check that out. And if not, hey, go and leave it one anyway. So find links to our social media, podcast apps, and more included in the show notes. Find everything on tealtownusa.com. And as always, remember to check out After Dark. That follows every single Sharks game. And they will keep you entertained. And I don't know, is Brody doing the A's yet? Or is he still doing postgame?
I don't know who that is.
Oh. No, I'm seriously asking because I know he was like down in Scottsdale or wherever the hell the A's practice, and so I was like, oh, have they made the transition yet where he goes to the A's broadcast? And I'm really interested to see how it's all handled next season with that. Like, is Brody doing the whole thing because they're not going to broadcast the A's next season if they move out of Oakland temporary before they go to Vegas? Or the other thing, what are you hearing, dude, in Vegas about the whole A's thing? Because the more I hear about it, the more I hear like Vegas people are like, no, fuck you, keep the A's, we don't want them.
Yeah, there's not a lot of interest, at least from what I've heard. Now, it's entirely possible that people I don't hear from and speak to maybe are wanting the A's here. I fully acknowledge that it's possible, but from the people I've spoken to, it's not that they don't want the A's here. It's just that they don't care. And,
is that baseball overall? Is that athletic specific?
It might be a little bit of both. And, I think I'd mentioned it a couple weeks ago, but there's a lot of, economic considerations for residents of Clark County. And, we're kind of watching from afar at how what's guy's name, David Caval, as I
Mm-hmm.
believe that's his name, how he wants whatever it is that he wants, 350 million or whatever it is from Clark County, and like we're looking at that in relation to like how much money this guy has got, right?
Yeah,
And
from owning the Gap.
right, and so it's just like it's really kind of obnoxious, especially because like from everything I've read and everything I've heard, like there's more of an appetite for basketball. There's more of an appetite for soccer. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's pretty much, to use a word that you love, it's pretty much fait accompli that the NBA is going to come here. I mean, T-Mobile Arena is already here. NHL and NBA teams share venues. That's an easy expansion or relocation, whatever ends up happening. And then not only that, the owner of the Golden Knights, Bill Foley, has kind of like behind the scenes been interested in bringing a Major League Soccer team to Vegas to play at the stadium where the Raiders play. And so that's a consideration, right? It seems to me like I said, people are more interested in basketball and soccer coming here as opposed to baseball. And I think the economic considerations, obviously there's not a state tax here, but other things, sales tax, resorts fees, all that kind of stuff would go up. And then also just the location where they want to put it. Like people who live in Vegas and Clark County are generally leery about construction. There's a running joke that the Nevada State Flower is an orange traffic cone,
Mm-hmm.
and building a baseball stadium would add to that.
And you're talking about a fan base that literally put together their own fan fest this weekend. Did you hear about this by any chance?
I did.
Yeah. The fact that they got together, put together their own fan fest, and like the A's couldn't like even let well enough alone. They had to fucking pressure Drake's Brewery, who was signed on as a sponsor very early on. It pressured them to not sponsor it. So Drake's pulled out like last minute. Total dick move. And evidently like told Aramark to like pull the lever on the axe. Like they couldn't even have the Stones to do it themselves because they didn't want the bad press. And I'm just like, bitch, that's your world. You swim in bad press. Why would this, why be any different? Just it's a great time in sports right now, isn't it?
Oh, it's awesome.
Dude, I mean, the 49, I mean, at least you have the 49ers. They made it to the big game, didn't win it, but hey, at least they're successful. But
True.
Holy shit. I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to pay attention to the trade deadline for the next 2 weeks. That's what we're going to do. So, thanks again for joining us. Remember,
I do want to say one more thing.
Oh, whip it out.
Today, not that anybody would know this, but I do want to shout it out. Today is my wife's birthday. Happy birthday.
I'm sorry, you're whose?
My wife's. Today is my wife's birthday. Happy birthday. I love you. All right, let's move on.
Nice. So thank you so much for listening. We're going to catch you next Sunday, but not at our normal time. It's going to be following Sharks at Minnesota, and get those contest questions in. And I'm dying to see if Jimmy wins it again. I'm done. We're not doing any more contests.
Jimmy.
Here it is, your moment of zen.
Fire everyone.